Hi guys, it's Grandpa. Gonna read some more of our Poppy book today. Today we are on Chapter 8. Chapter 8 looks like this. It says Chapter 8. And it says Poppy and Papa. That's what she calls her dad. And it starts like this. From the moment Lungwort pulled the curtain across the entrance to his boot study, he did not show himself. When questions were asked, the curtain was opened by Sweet Cicely, but merely just a fraction. Looking out just long enough to say, "He's not well," she would then draw the curtain closed. Now Poppy stood before his study, working up the courage to speak to him. She kept asking herself, as she had already done 100 times, if she really wanted to go to new house. The answer, plain and simple, was no. Just the thought frightened her, but still she was convinced it was the only way to prove that she and Ragwood were not really the cause of Mr. Oacax's refusal. Nonetheless, she feared that when she told her father about her intentions, he would not be pleased. With a sigh, she braced herself and she called out, "Papa?" Her mother peeked out from behind the curtain. "He's not, Poppy." "Oh, he's not. Oh, Poppy, it's you." "Mama," Poppy said, "can I speak to Papa, please?" "Well, I guess if anyone... just make it brief." Poppy slipped into the boot. "Is he still ill?" she whispered. Sweet Cicely nodded. "I've never seen him looking so poorly. He just lies there whimpering, though every once in a while he'll shake his head and sob. What are we going to do? Or, it's all over with us now." Poppy's heart sank. "Poppy," Sweet Cicely continued, "I do hope you've come to tell him something good, something that will cheer him up." I'm not so sure that I will," she confessed. Her mother sniffed. "Well then, you best know what else he's been saying." "Oh?" "He keeps saying, if only Ragweed and Poppy had asked for permission." Poppy's heart sank even further. "And I must agree with him," Sweet Cicely went on. "Well, if you insist on seeing him, come along." Lungwort had curled himself into the absolute toe of the boot, which was the gloomiest part. His tail was wrapped around his feet, his whiskers were limp, and his front paws were in constant motion, as if he was trying to squeeze a sponge. Poppy thought his fur now looked a little grayer, too. Sweet Cicely leaned over him. "Lungwort, dearest, it's Poppy. She's come to visit." Lungwort shook his head and mumbled as if holding an argument with himself. Poppy came forward. "Papa," she said. And here's a picture of Poppy coming to the boot to visit him. He lives inside an old boot. Lungwort looked up and stared fixedly at his daughter. "Doomed," he said mournfully. "Who is doomed?" "The whole family." "But if rules aren't followed," he began, but he stopped to shake his head. "No, it's my fault." "What do you mean, Papa?" "Well, if I would have raised you properly, you would have never gone to Bannock Hill without asking for permission, and none of this ever would have happened. I accept full responsibility." His tail swished in dismay, and he started squeezing his paws again. Poppy appealed to Sweet Cicely with a look, but her mother was gazing at Lungwort. "Papa," Poppy said, "I have this idea that there may be another reason why Mr. Okax refused us." Lungwort sniffed. "You're too young to have any ideas." Poppy didn't protest, but she pressed on. "I think Mr. Okax refused permission because of something about new house. Something that he doesn't want us to know." Lungwort considered his daughter for a moment. Suddenly his whiskers stiffened, and he bared his front teeth. "That ragweed," he snarled with anger. "He's twisted up your mind. He's the cause of all of this." Poppy stepped back as though struck, but she managed to say, "I'm going there to try to find out." "How?" "I'm going to new house." Lungwort turned limp. "Why tell me?" he said with a shrug. "You don't care what I think. You'll go anyway." Poppy wanted to say something kind, but the words just would not come. Instead, after a painful silence, she turned to go. Suddenly, Lungwort cried out, "Poppy?" "Yes, Papa." "Look out for porcupines." Poppy lay on the floor of her log cabin syrup room and studied a map of the area. As far as she could see, there were 3 ways she could go to reach New House. The easiest way would be to go along the tar road, but if she took that route, she'd be traveling out in the wide open. That was reason enough to rule out the tar road. The longest way would be to go around the marsh, but that meant going over Bannock Hill, and that had too many painful memories and fears connected to Ragweed's death. No, Poppy was not ready to go there again. Not yet. Her third choice was going through Dimwood Forest. Few mice who had ventured into Dimwood Forest had ever returned to tell of their experiences. Even so, the dark woods seemed to offer real advantages. She could travel midday, even in bright sun. Mr. Okax and most other creatures would be asleep then, and if and when the need arose, the same light would enable her to find a hiding place. If the forest had anything, Poppy assumed, it would have plenty of places for her to hide. Yep, she would go that way. Poppy told only Basil about her plans. If she succeeded in discovering the real reason for Mr. Okax's refusal, there would be time enough to let everybody else know. On the other hand, if she discovered nothing, who would know? Who would care if she disappeared? She asked Basil to meet her at the back steps of Grey House when the sun was at its highest the next day. That morning, she mingled with her family so that nobody would suspect what she was up to. But with so many convinced that she was the cause of the crisis, the hostility made it too painful to wait. Some time before her appointment with Basil, she was pacing by the back steps, ready to go. "I'm leaving right away," Poppy announced, as soon as her cousin appeared. "You forgot something," he said. "Oh? What's that?" "This." Basil held out Ragweed's earring. "Take it along, for courage," he said. Poppy held still, while her cousin gently fixed that earring. When she shook her head, it tickled her ear. "I need a nuzzle," she said, caught in a swell of emotion. As the 2 of them nuzzled together, Basil whispered, "I could go with you." Poppy broke away. "Nope, has to be just me," she said, and she leaped off the back steps. Why does it have to be just you? If I'm the one who caused this mess, she said, it has to be me who sorts it out. Okay, good luck, Basil cried after her. Poppy, not wanting to look back because she thought it might make her lose her heart, dashed away. And that is the end of chapter 8. Next time we start up, we're going to be on chapter 9. Hope you're enjoying the book. See you later.